The girl was playing when she accidentally got into a safe, not noticing that the safe door was slowly closing. Her cries caught the attention of her father, who was cooking in the kitchen. The man immediately entered the code but found that it didn't work at all. It was then that he realized his wife had secretly changed the code. The man quickly called his wife, who was at yoga class, asking for the code, but to his shock, a stranger answered the phone. Having no time to think much, he told the stranger to get his wife on the phone immediately. Just then, his wife had just finished yoga and came over. When she heard her husband calling to ask for the safe code, she looked very annoyed. She mistakenly thought her husband was trying to steal money from the safe, so she refused to give him the code and even immediately hung up the phone. The man had to comfort his daughter while calling the rescue team. Soon, the rescuers arrived on the scene. After inspecting the safe, they had no choice and could only try to open it. Even the cutting tool overheated and smoked due to the safe's special material, making it impossible for them to pry it open. The man could only call his wife again, but she was busy practicing yoga and couldn't answer the phone. He had no choice but to go to the yoga studio himself to get the code. At this moment, the girl inside the safe was already showing signs of oxygen deprivation. When the man rushed to the yoga studio as fast as he could, suddenly he understood why his wife had become so obsessed with yoga recently. But he had no time to dwell on this. He grabbed his wife and headed for the door, wanting to rush home. However, the young man stepped forward and provoked her, saying he was just joking. The woman was completely enraged by his words and yelled at her husband, accusing him of being so desperate for money that he would even use their daughter's life as a threat. She refused to give him the code, declaring that she wouldn't go back with him, and even told him to leave immediately. Meanwhile, the girl's breathing was becoming weaker and weaker. The rescue team leader called the girl's father to ask if he had obtained the code, adding that the oxygen in the safe was being rapidly depleted and that if the door could not be opened quickly, the consequences would be unimaginable. When the woman heard this, she thought her husband had hired someone to stage a trick to deceive her, and she said she would never give out the code unless they brought her daughter directly in front of her. Her words gave the man an idea. He requested the rescue team to move the safe to the yoga studio. Soon, the safe was brought over, and the woman could hardly believe that her husband would go so far for money, hiring so many so-called actors. It wasn't until she saw the rescue workers show their official IDs that she began to realize the truth, but the guy insisted that the IDs were fake. Seeing her husband desperately pleading for the code, the woman decided to open the safe herself, forcing him to give up completely. However, when she entered the code, the safe triggered its locking mechanism because she had entered the wrong password. As the oxygen level inside the safe continued to drop, the man went weak in the knees and knelt to the ground, begging the rescuers to find a way to save his daughter. Suddenly, he remembered that he could reset the password by answering the security questions. He frantically begged his wife to reset the password, but the malicious guy intervened once again, trying to trap him with more false accusations. The man could no longer contain his anger and punched the guy in the face. In his wife's eyes, this only made him look like a violent monster, so she demanded that her husband kneel and apologize to him. Meanwhile, the oxygen in the safe had completely run out. The man had cast aside all his pride and knelt down before the guy. Seeing her husband kneeling on the ground begging for mercy, the woman finally gave in. She went to reset the password, and then she had her husband open the safe. But when the safe door finally opened, she was instantly stunned by what she saw inside.